What's going on, guys? It's Tyson here, and today I'm starting a new video series. So in this series, I'm going to talk about one nutrient a week. So it might be a vitamin, might be a mineral, or it might be a protein, carbohydrate, or fat. And I'm going to explain to you guys all the benefits of that nutrient, why you need it, what the best foods are for it, and if you have too much of it too. That way you guys are going to be able to know where you can get the food from, if you have too much of it, what you can notice, and also if you're deficient, what you can also notice. So today I'm going to start with calcium. Now, the reason I've decided to start with calcium today is because it's the most common nutrient found in the body. It actually helps the body do a lot of things. It helps with chemical reactions, it helps with hormones in the body, it regulates nerve impulse transmissions, muscle contractions, obviously it forms with teeth and bone. There's a lot of things that calcium does. So what I want to start with first is the top food sources that you can actually get calcium from. The first one obviously would be your dairy. So it would be milk is obviously the best. 1 cup of milk provides about 30 to nearly 40% of daily recommendation. That's just from 1 cup. You've got your cheese, you've got yogurt. Yogurt's a really good source. All your dairy stuff, right? That's going to be the first thing. That pretty much everyone knows that dairy is where you get your calcium from. But people don't realize is that if you don't drink dairy, or you don't like to eat yogurt, or any of those, or you're lactose intolerant, you can actually get other sources, and they're still pretty high up there. So the first one's dairy. The second one is actually leafy green vegetables, which people don't realize. So if you get watercress, or if you get lettuce, iceberg lettuce, kale, spinach, any type of leafy green vegetable, it's actually really high in calcium. Now you have to have a lot to actually get your calcium intake, but it's a good having veggies and leafy greens at every meal is going to help with that nutrient uptake of calcium. So don't skip out on your leafy greens. The next one people actually get surprised about, and it surprised me too, is whey protein powder. Now, of course, whey, it comes from milk, so it's going to be high. But if you look at how much 30 grams is, there's a lot of calcium in whey protein powder. So if you're someone who likes to have a protein shake once a day, you'll get a fair bit of calcium in there, which is good. Now, number 4 is fish with bones, like sardines, or if you get fish with bones like perch, you can get even Atlantic salmon, all those fish with bones, because obviously bones, that's what calcium is. So if you're actually getting fish with bones, especially sardines, they're the highest. Sardines are really, really high in calcium, but they're also high in sodium if you get them tin, so you got to be careful with that. Number 5 is broccoli. Broccoli is also another good source of calcium. It's not very high, but it's still got a good source in there. Green beans, tofu, nuts are pretty high in calcium, like Brazil nuts and almonds, but you've still got to be careful, like I said in the other video, don't go consuming a lot. Oats, and also cereals. So some cereals are high in calcium too. Now, they're the 10 sources. Pretty simple. Like, I'm going to assume most of you guys eat most of those foods during the day. But if you just look at the first 3 or 4, so let's say at every meal you're getting leafy green vegetables, and let's say then you're having a protein shake sometime during the day. If you're having 1 cup of milk or some yogurt for breakfast or dessert, you're having oats, and also you might be having some fish, some type of fish during the day. That's all nutrient dense food right there. Boom. You're getting a good chunk of your calcium if you're consuming most of those 5 foods. But if you're having more vegetables, you're going to be getting a good source of calcium. People wonder, how much calcium do I need? And so I decided to do some research, and I thought, okay, so they're saying 1,300 milligrams is pretty much average for men and women, 1,300. And then I looked at it, I was like, okay, what does that actually mean? What is the RDI? And the RDI talks about, that's like the okay point, that's the safety point. But then I looked at how much how much people can actually get up to. And we can actually consume up to 2,000 milligrams and above before we actually start seeing negative side effects. So, you might aim for 1,300, but what I would recommend is aiming between 13 to 2,000. So you can aim for 15 or 1,600. And it's really, really easy to hit those numbers, guys, if you're eating enough food. If you're eating enough of the right food. Energy intake, you're gonna consume more calcium, which is great. But what it is you guys have also got to be, so just think about it, like 2,000 is the number. You're not going to know exactly, but if you're eating 3, 4, 5 times a day, and you're getting veggies with every meal, and then you're having fish once a day, or you're having tofu, or you're having a protein shake, and you're having some type of milk, and you're having yogurt, and you're having like oats or anything like that, it's going to start adding up more and more. So it's not hard to miss the calcium intake if you're being proactive about it. The reason a lot of people don't get enough calcium intake is because they're not drinking enough milk, because some people might be lactose intolerant, or you just might not choose to eat dairy. So you've got to use other sources like I just talked about to implement that. So that means you're going to be having more veggies, or you've got to be having more tofu and soy. I'm not a big proponent of soy, but if that's what you need, that's what you've got to have. So aim for around the 1500 to 2000 milligram mark a day. Now, if you're deficient in calcium, there's no like signs to say, oh yeah, you're deficient in calcium. Like there's wives' tales and things like that talk about, oh, you know, if your nails, or there's heaps of things that people say you're deficient in calcium. If you get a blood test, they'll tell you. If you start getting osteoporosis or any type of numbness, if you're getting rickets, things like that, that's going to tell you you're deficient in calcium and that you need it. But a lot of people don't get to that mark. That's actually, so that's what I said before about the 1300 milligrams. That's to avoid that, right? So that's to avoid, and then 2000 is the excess mark. If you're having too much excess, that's when you can start getting nauseous, you get constipation, you start vomiting, you get a dry mouth, you're always thirsty, and this is when kidney stones happen too. A lot of people get scared because, I don't want to eat too much calcium because I've heard of getting kidney stones. But if you're not supplementing it, there's a low risk of you actually getting kidney stones, so don't need to stress out about it. You're not going to be going over that 2000 milligram mark if you're not supplementing it and you're not drinking gallons of milk a day. You know what I'm saying? So you know the top 10 sources. You know that you need to try and consume foods high in calcium with every meal. You guys know what to look for if you're having too much or too little calcium. And also, you know what they do, like you know how important calcium is in the body. So if it's going to help with those functions, you know it's key. You know you need to be making sure you get it enough during the day. But also there are things that can block calcium which you need to watch out for. Caffeine can block it a little bit, but so can low levels of vitamin D, and that's going to be on the next talk, so make sure you keep an eye out, because low level of vitamin D isn't actually going to help you absorb the calcium. So that's the video, guys. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned something about calcium. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Also comment down below about your favorite source of calcium and what nutrient you want to learn about next. So next week is going to be all about vitamin D, so make sure you keep an eye out. And until next time, see you then.